Hi, if you're new around here, I'm Max and this is Rose. She's a Mercedes-Benz 310D Luton van. She's also very rusty and needs a lot of work. I plan to do most of the welding and repairs myself to get her through the first MOT in 5 years. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button to come along for the ride.
So, hello everyone, first talk of this video, which I'm sure you're all glad of. Anyway, so chopped down the box yesterday after Vanlife Festival, which was an amazing festival, and if I saw you there, awesome. Yeah, I chopped down the box using jigsaw and a reciprocating saw. My neighbour came over to help me. We cut it along the roof first, which the cross members aren't C-section. They've got like an upright bit, bottom, and then an angled bit with two little things on the top, so almost like V-shaped. Pretty bizarre. And oh my god, just standing back and looking at it so much shorter, it was blatantly meant to be this short. Like before, it just looked silly how long it was. So I'm happy, because as we were doing it I was like, there's no turning back, what am I doing, but no, it's all good, and I'm happy with how it's turning out. Yeah, just looking at it after the wheels, it looks so much nicer, because it was just like this big thing on the back of a van before, like with the skirts and the drop well, and it just went miles back. This, much better. I think I've got no more than a metre overhang, and obviously that metre overhang is like a metre in the air, so the departure angle for things is going to be good, because that's what I want, a capable vehicle. I put some diagonals in today, and the door wasn't shutting properly, and that's because I remember that I jacked this side up, because our land tilts a bit like that. So this side I jacked up when I built the wall to try and make it square, and then I put it down, and then now I've jacked it back up again. Doors shutting right, added the diagonals in, gluing and double screws in the pine cladding, because when you've got the pine cladding like this and you put a screw in the middle, it always bows because of the way, well, just because it's so thin, it will just bow out because the screws are only in the middle. So what I'm doing is I'm gluing it and then putting two screws, one in the top, one in the bottom, so it can't possibly bow. I was going to put nails, but these are going to be sort of part of the structure that stops it swaying like that, including the diagonals. I don't mind it swaying, but the main thing is that door. I just don't want it to put stress on the door and all that sort of stuff, and put stress on a load of other things. So it's going to be really rigid, and because those bits of cladding are in the weather, sun, rain, by having the two screws and the glue, they should stay pretty flat for the whole of their life. And at Vanlife Festival I saw Carpentering Gram. I'll put their Instagram name here and Instagram in the description. Awesome people. Didn't realise they were quite so young, almost as young as me, which is awesome, or at least when they started they were. But yeah, I had a chat with them and saw their van for the first time, and their van is amazing, with lovely live edge worktops, and it's something I always wanted in my vans. And then the other thing is I put a bit of plastic along the bottom, like mainly just I'm going to seal with CT1 around all the cladding so water doesn't go in, But at the bottom I didn't just want the water, because I'm going to have to extend the floor out a bit, and I put an alley cross member across, but where there's going to be the join, I didn't want it rotting out the floor of the van. I don't mind it rotting out the floor on the outside because it's more exposed, it's probably going to pool, fair enough, but I didn't want it rotting the floor under there because that's the floor of my van. So what I've done is I've stapled a bit of plastic to the bottom of the stud wall, and then put the bit of cladding down, and then when the next sheet of ply goes in, it's going to go on top, so I'll show you now. So here is the bottom of the wall, and here's the bit of plastic I've put in, and I'm going to seal along there. I'm probably even going to put a bit of oak trim on there, just so if water pools here, it's not going to slowly rot out the softwood pine stuff. So put a bit of oak trim there with sealant on, and then put a bit of more resin ply on there on the alley cross member that I've put on. And now I've got another alley cross member to go across, so it's just going to be enough that you can stand on. So this is the inside of my van. Look at that, so cool. I'm so happy with how it's coming, and it's made it feel so much smaller, which I know sounds a bad thing, but this van was massive, and it's made it seem much more realistic, giving me a real idea of how it's going to feel. And just looking from the outside, I'll give you a look now. So that's the van with the door shut, as you can see, looking really smart. And then the lights are going to go down there definitely, because when there's the cross member on, you can still see it from like only a metre away at head height, so that's perfectly fine. And then you can just see the box is just a nice size now. And then here, so it's now 5.8 metres long, and it was just over 6.4 metres long before. We cut off about 650 mil, and here is the reminiscence of that 650 mil. So this is the profile that's got in the ceiling as well, you know what I mean, sort of a V shape, two little bits there. It's weird, but I think it's probably quite a good design. But yeah, here there is a lot of weight with the roller shutter. This exciting stuff. There we are. I haven't filmed today because I figured this video is probably getting long enough already, and it's quite repetitive. So yeah, I haven't filmed anything today. I also didn't get any of the welding done today because it's the next day, and I still haven't finished the bloody cladding. But I have done some bits. But as you can see, I can now walk up the steps. I just moved out of the way. Like this, and it's down on there, which is the whole sort of thing behind here. And as I said, there'll be pull-out steps that will come down at the right thing. But yeah, so what I've done here is I've bought some L brackets, and I bolted this. I left it too long, so there is a small gap under there, but there's a ledge there, if you remember, and I've bolted a bracket into the bit of alley that used to be the side of the drop well, and then into this cross member. And it does, this cross member, as I said, is a bit too long, so it does sort of sit on the lip a bit. Nothing crazy, but it's mainly just to stop the plywood bowing and to support the join in the plywood. And everything has a sealing called OB1, which is basically CT1, but the old version, which apparently is much better than the new stuff. And then it's also got this bit of aluminium angle on just as trim, and I'm thinking of painting all of this black all the way up to there, just to cover all the screw holes and stuff as well. But for now I'll just probably paint that bit black, because yeah, this bit's all tatty, as you can see. And then I've got some of this oak trim, which I don't even know if it's trim. I think it's just an angled offcut. It's just like a wedge shape. So this is the sort of profile that it's got. It's nothing special, it's a bit triangular with just a bit of another edge there. I know it's not focusing. And I just put some warm oak stain. It is made of oak, and that's the idea, is because it's a hardwood, the water's going to hit this face, come down, and instead of sort of sitting in that corner, which I would have put sealant in anyway, and also that's the join where the plywood floor where I put that plastic membrane that I was going on about yesterday. So this just covers all of that and hides the plastic membrane, and if any water pools around here, which it's bound to because if I'm facing downhill a bit, the oak won't rot because it's super hardwood. And then yeah, filled that joint as well, even though I've kept the treated edge there. Sealed there, sealed from underneath, sealed all round the corners, and I've also finally painted the door frame in the warm oak. So this is the old warm oak that I had left over, if you watched my rant in the last video. And then I've put the just some rubber strip, foam sealing strip around, which seals the door-ish. You can still push this quite a lot, but I was going to put another deadlock on this bit of the door anyway, so they've both got their own lock, so that will solve that problem, no problem. And I also need a lip coming off the door so the water doesn't go behind there, which we don't want either. I have now decided I'm going to mount the number plate down there, because if it was up there, up there, then as you walked out the door, because the door's all the way at the ceiling pretty much, you'd hit your head on that. So that's not going there anymore. We're still going to have lights up there and cameras, but I'm going to put the number plate here, not this one. This one there was 2 holes in the chassis, same place as the number plate. So that number plate Mercedes did put there, which is weird, they put a square one there. But yeah, I'm just happy how that looks. I mean, just look at it. That's my home. Well, soon to be. I slept in it anyway. So yeah. But anyway, I just was editing the last video and remembered that I was going to explain why I chopped the box down. So, reasons for chopping down the box is more than one. So, reason number 1, it had a hole in that top right corner, so you could see daylight through it, and it was full of filler anyway. Reason number 2 is I was taking off the roller shutter anyway because of the weight of it, and then I would have had to do something with the back anyway. Reason number 3 is I obviously took out the drop well, which meant then I had to raise the floor. Now that would have meant I would have had to build more than just a small floor like that. I would have had to basically put the whole drop well frame back in and somehow support it for that length, which wouldn't have been fun, and then put new plywood that length, so just adding more weight on. Reason number 4, there's obviously that warped bit. Now that would have stayed in there if I hadn't cut it down, whereas now it's open, I can put a load of glue in there, clamp it shut, and solve that. Reason number 5, weight. So rather than trying to fill that space at the back and utilise the space that I've got on only 3.5 tonne, I thought, well, if I just chop it off, then I haven't got to build a floor and I'm losing even more weight, which is exactly what you want on a build of this size. Now reason number 6 as well, see, it's ongoing. So yeah, reason number 6 is that I had already planned out the floor plan for this van, and it fit in the medium wheelbase blue Iveco I had, which was 3.5 meters inside. I haven't actually measured this, but I think it's about 3.5 meters inside with the wall now, and overall the length of it is 5.8 meters, which is reason number 7. Apparently, according word of mouth, I've heard that if you're under 6 meters, things like ferries are cheaper. Again, that wasn't the main reason, that was just something I heard. Whoa, a bonus. And reason number 8. It's ongoing. I think this is the last one. Maneuverability and departure angle and stuff, because obviously that's why I wanted to lift the drop well, but it still had like over 1.5 meters of overhang, whereas now it has probably just about 1 meter from the back of the wheel. So now it's really versatile, and if I wanted to do a 3-point turn anywhere, I've got a shorter van, which means you could do it across a road easier if you needed to, if you reached a dead end or something. And if you were to turn like right off a road, you won't get that swing. I mean, I'll get a small one, but it's not that big. It's something like a medium wheelbase Iveco. Yeah, it's nothing crazy. It's not like the long wheelbase Ivecos or anything crazy like this was, because this was 6.5 meters long, so not even as long as an Iveco, but still, it was pretty long, and that's why I wanted a Luton, was so I could make it shorter. I was compromising the fact that I'd have to have a wider and higher van for the fact that I could get the length down, because those long wheelbase Ivecos, they're pretty much sat on the ground, so the second you go up with your front wheels, the bottom's out, which is why I wanted a Luton, because it sits really high. So I took the drop well out, and then by shortening the box I could pretty much go at 45 degrees, probably even higher, which you'd never do before it would ever hit that. So that was my aim, to make it sort of as versatile as possible. If I needed to reverse up sort of a mound on the side of a road or something like that, you know, it's now a very versatile van, and then with the weight down low as well, it should have not much wanting to try and tip it over because everything's down low. I'll put some B-roll shots in at the end of what it looks like, but that's probably going to be it for this video. If you did like the video, make sure you, as of course, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, make sure you do subscribe, and then after that, make sure you hit the bell icon. And as I say, do drop some comments and feedback down in the description, in the comment section, and I'll see you next week on Monday.